So today we're going to be reviewing Perla, which is one of the more newer brokers entering into the Australian brokerage scene for the past year or so. Now this broker is unique in a sense that they're trying to get more and more people focused onto long-term sustainable investing, which is pretty different to other brokers that are out there. Mostly other brokers are focused on getting people to trade as much as possible by giving them all those charts and all those features. But Perla is much different than that. They even got a shout out from the barefoot investor himself, Scott Pape, a few months ago, so more and more people are joining in and starting to invest with Perla. Now, if you guys are new here, my name is Fyzee. This channel is about finance and investing. Before you begin, as usual, this video is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Please make sure to do your own research as to which broker is the best thing for you. Let's jump into it. So logging into Perla, as we can see, we are greeted by a very nice message which says, "Good evening, Fyzee," which is nice. And this dashboard is actually new and improved if you guys didn't know. And it basically gives you a snapshot of your wealth in time. As you can see, it basically shows your net wealth over time, over lots of different months. And I can actually adjust this as well to see which time frame I want to actually have a look at and to see how my investment performance has been doing so far. Now, this graph is kind of like ShareSite in a way. You can basically see how your investments have been doing over time. And you can pretty much try to see that they're trying to emphasize long-term investing by showing people those long-term graphs and to help people to actually embrace the long-term mindset, rather than actually showing people what the daily returns are or what the daily kind of performance of their investments are. A lot of brokers like SelfWealth will show you how much money you've made in a single day and try to emphasize, trying to make money every single day. But if you're trying to invest for the long term, the daily number that you made or lost is pretty much irrelevant, because we're talking about not months or days or weeks. We're pretty much looking at years or even decades when it comes to investment performance. So right now you can see off to the side, I've got about $23,000 invested with Perla at the moment. And I've got some other investments with SelfWealth and NAB Trade and Stake as well, which I'm going to keep with those brokers for now. Perla has obviously been a new addition to kind of my investing strategy for the past kind of 6 months or so. And you can also see your holdings down there as well. As you can see, for me right now, it is obviously hidden, but I'm thinking once I reach maybe 10K subscribers on the channel, I'll do a big reveal talking about all the kind of stocks and ETFs that I have. So if you do want to help out with that, do give a like or subscribe and follow along for the journey. Once I reach 10K, if I reach 10K, we'll do a big reveal and go from there. So from here, let's look at the investing side of Perla, because obviously it's a broker. So let's click on invest and see what we can find. So we've got 4 options: shares, portfolios, profiles, and marketplace. So let's start off with the marketplace first. So if we scroll down a bit, we can see that marketplace is pretty much about finding more ways to invest, and we can actually see the logo of spaceship right now. Now, with this feature, if we actually try to click on it and explore the marketplace, it actually just says coming soon. So it's not actually released yet. So I'm keen to see what this is all about. I think it's going to be a kind of like an aggregate of other brokers and other kind of financial services into Perla to kind of make Perla an integrated place, something like that. Let's just wait and see what that's all about. Now, if we scroll up a bit, we can see discover shares to invest in. Now, the good thing about Perla is the fact that you can actually buy a few ETFs completely brokerage free as long as you hold those ETFs for greater than a year. So ETFs with providers like VanEck, ETF Securities, and eInvest, if you buy those ETFs with Perla, as long as you hold them for over a year, you're going to pay no brokerage, but you only pay brokerage once you sell. So if you sell, 10 years down the track, you're going to pay a brokerage of $9.50, and that's pretty much it. And when it comes to comparing pricing for Perla, it's pretty much on par with SelfWealth at the moment. They've got a flat fee structure. Before it was a tiered structure, but now they've actually converted to a fully flat fee structure for Aussie shares, which is pretty good to see. So if you're mainly a long-term investor with SelfWealth, it may be worth it to look at Perla as well. Now, of course, when it comes to investing, one of the most important things is CHESS sponsorship, right? Now, Perla is fully CHESS sponsored, which means that you have full and direct ownership of your shares. They are held against your name and not the broker's name. Now, if you're not too sure about what CHESS sponsorship actually means, check this video out right here. This video pretty much explains everything and all about CHESS sponsorship, so I think it'll be pretty helpful. Now, when it comes to fees though of $9.50, they still might seem a lot, especially with competitors like Stake coming in at $3 per trade, so that's even cheaper. Now, Perla have said that they are looking to hopefully reduce fees in the future, but we're not too sure when that's going to happen, but they are looking at it to ensure that obviously brokerage can be even cheaper than $9.50. So of course, let's focus on the share side of things. So I'll just click on explore shares. And as we can see, you can basically rank shares from whichever metric that you want to have a look, right? So right now it is sorted by most popular. So these are the shares or ETFs that people are buying the most in Perla. So you can see a lot of Vanguard ETFs, you got a couple of BetaShares ETFs, ETF Securities, and pretty much Vanguard and BetaShares dominate the whole, Perla portfolios at the moment. And this just goes to show that almost all the people that invest with Perla are doing so with the mindset of investing for the long term. They're not looking to, buy speculative stocks or anything like that. You can buy those stocks with Perla. It is a full service broker, but most people that join Perla are looking to invest for the long term. You can see most holdings are pretty much ETFs. And you can really see that Perla isn't really shy about kind of opening up the conversation when it comes to money, and they're pretty open to kind of sharing all these different ETFs and whatnot as to, what other people are investing in, to try to open up the conversation. And that's pretty much the reasons for starting this channel as well, to kind of talk more about money, because I'll be honest, this topic interests me quite a bit. I like to find ways to make money and invest and do all that sort of stuff. And seeing a broker that does that as well is pretty good to see. So of course, if you're watching this video as a completely beginner investor, this could be a good place to start with these ETFs. When I say start, I mean start to research, not start to buy. Obviously, this is not financial advice. Perla can't tell you what to buy. This is just a sample kind of ETFs to get you guys to research more and so on and so on. Now, just having a quick look at this sidebar, as you guys can see, you can really just customize and find whichever type of ETF you're looking for, right? So if we start off with, let's say, just the ASX, and with category, I'll just select ETF because I want to buy some ETFs. With the brokerage type, I'll just select maybe no buy brokerage just to kind of get a free ETF. And with the strategy, I will just select, let's just say, ethical ETFs because we're feeling a bit generous today. And going on to geography, I will just select Australia just to see what they come up with. Now, as you can see, they basically narrowed it down to 2 ETFs right now, INPQ and GRNV with VanEck. So if you buy these 2 ETFs, they're going to be ethical ETFs based on their various ethical screenings. And this will basically mean that you'll buy these and you won't pay any brokerage as long as you hold it for over a year. Now, if you're watching this video as a seasoned investor, you might be wondering, when is, BetaShares and BlackRock and Vanguard going to join the party when it comes to free brokerage, right? Of course, because these are some of the more popular fund managers in Australia. And personally for me, I invest a lot of the money with BlackRock and BetaShares. So of course, we want to know when that's going to happen. Now, when I first spoke with the co-founder of Perla, who is Kurt Welcome, this guy right here, he basically said that at the moment, those big companies aren't looking to budge at the moment. However, the communication lines are pretty open. So let's just see what happens. Hopefully in the future, these fund managers realize the value of, Perla and long-term investing and the customer base that Perla has. So hopefully those companies can come on board with the whole free brokerage program and go from there. So at the moment, it's not going to happen. However, let's just see what happens in the future. My hopes are pretty high. Let's just see what happens. Now, this will be a good time to point out that this video is absolutely not sponsored by Perla. Perla is not paying me to make this review at all. This is just basically my own take and my own kind of review of the platform. If you do want to check out Perla though, there should be a link in the description and you can use this code right here. This is basically my first name and this will give you a free trade on top of the free ETFs that you can already buy with Perla. This is pretty much a referral code, that's it. Jumping into the portfolio tab, this is pretty good for beginners as well because you can see some sample portfolios that are made which will help you to kind of research more and find out more about these ETFs, right? You might be new and you might not know where to actually start, what ETFs to research. And you can see that with these different types of portfolios, this will give you kind of a baseline ETFs to research and look more into. And we'll just click on a random portfolio like sustainability leaders. And this template, as you can see, once it finishes loading, it'll basically give us a starting point to do some more research. As we can see, it's got just 3 ETFs. It's got INPQ, GreenV or GRNV, and ESGI. And basically, you can see the allocations as well. And if you want, you can pretty much click down here and you can apply this to your portfolio and add it to your portfolio and invest it from there. Now, let's jump into the more unique aspects of Perla, which is the community feature. And as you can see, these are fully, real people. It's not like SelfWealth where you just have a random username with a random profile picture. These are real people that create content about personal finance, investing. And if you scroll down, you can see that yours truly is there as well. Now, pretty much all these guys are creators in the finance space. They create content on Instagram, YouTube, or TikTok, pretty much trying to educate people about investing, tax, superannuation. And basically, it's a whole community of people that are driven to ensure that you guys get the financial information that wasn't taught to you in school or whatever. Now, some of these people I've actually met in person as well, which is super cool. I love the fact that they're able to connect all these people when it comes to personal finance. So basically, you can click on any portfolio and see what these guys are doing, right? So as an example, I'll just click on mine and you can see that this is pretty much my Perla profile. If you do sign up to Perla though, do give me a follow. Just kidding. But as you can see, I've created two basic portfolios. Obviously, well, one is a basic portfolio, one is just a target portfolio. Now, if you're a beginner investor, I don't expect anyone to invest like I do. This is pretty much based on my research and kind of, my understanding and whatnot. So I don't expect people to, copy this at all. Do not copy this portfolio. This is for educational purposes only, just to help you guys with your research. But just for beginners as well, I've created a second portfolio, as you guys can see right here. And this is very simple, just two Vanguard ETFs, VAS and VGS with 20% and 80%. And this will basically give you exposure to most of the developed countries around the world. And you will be able to invest in some of the biggest companies as well over in America, like Apple, Tesla, Amazon, and so on. Now, just to help you guys out even more, I've done a full review, a full in-depth breakdown of VAS, A200, ACDC, Asia, pretty much all the ETFs that you can see in my portfolio. So I'll leave a link in description for those videos as well if you want to have a look and kind of get some help in doing that research. Now, once again, I'm not telling you to invest in these ETFs. This is not financial advice. Don't sue me. Don't come for me. Okay, this is just to help you guys to research more and so on. Now, the last thing we'll look at is the auto invest feature, as you guys can see. And this is a unique selling factor for Perla once again, because I haven't really seen any other broker doing this. I've seen micro investing apps do this, like Comsec Pocket and Raise and Spaceship and whatnot, but Perla have basically brought that kind of offering to a full service broker. So to actually set this up, you can select one of the three options to begin with. So the first one is to make those regular deposits and to invest them immediately, or invest them only once these funds reach a certain value. Or the third one is to just make those manual deposits and to invest them once they reach a certain value. So I'll just select a random one. And once we go down, we can basically select our investing schedule, right? So if we want to invest, let's say $500, I can just put it in right here. And if I want to put my first deposit on, let's say this coming Friday, I can do that and basically repeat either every week or every fortnight or every month. And you can basically select, which days you want it to repeat on, which is pretty handy. And then secondly, you can select which assets you want to buy. And these assets will be pretty much auto-populated from the portfolio that you've created for yourself. So make sure to edit your portfolio and so on and so on. But this is basically my portfolio from before, and these are the weights that you've pretty much selected. So once you do that, you will select next. And then lastly, you can choose your investment strategy. So with the lowest share basically means that whichever share is the lowest weighting in your portfolio, the auto invest basically buys that lower share. The second option, which is the rebalance portfolio, this basically places multiple buy and sell orders, I believe, to try to basically adjust your portfolio according to the percentages that you've chosen in your portfolio. And then lastly, you've got equal invest, where it basically just invests equally into the portfolio that you've chosen. Now, of course, if you're not too sure which one to pick, they've basically said that 94% of the people chose the first option. So this may help you to make your decision. Okay, now let's have a look at the cons of this broker. And the number one issue being they need to have BetaShares, Vanguard, and BlackRock as part of their free ETF offering, right? Of course, most people, as we saw with their most popular ETFs, most people invest with Vanguard and BetaShares, so they need to come on board and be part of that free ETF system. As we spoke about before, the communication lines are fairly open, so hopefully in the future we can see this happening, because seeing those other fund managers like Van Eck and ETF Securities, they offer some pretty decent ETFs. However, when it comes to those core types of ETFs, we need to have, Vanguard and BetaShares, because that is a very big plus for the broker. Secondly, to actually buy a share or an ETF, it takes a couple of annoying clicks. So firstly, you have to click on invest, and then you actually click on shares, and then you can basically find the shares, and then the search bar is here as well. Now, personally, I would like this search bar to be somewhere around here at all times, considering that this is a broker, right, you want to be able to access that search bar at all times and to invest as soon as possible. If we have a look at SelfWealth or Stake as a competitor, we can see that they have a search bar at the top at all times, right? So since the main feature of a broker is to help you to invest, that feature should be there as soon as possible. Maybe I'm just being a bit nitpicky, but I think the search bar needs to be there at the top at all times. As a new person or as a new investor, you might not know where to click and whatnot. It's not really obvious. So I think that is very important. Now, you can also buy just from the dashboard screen by clicking on, one of your shares that you've kind of selected and clicking buy. But once again, it's only going to be the ETFs that you've selected in your portfolio. It won't be the ones that you want to buy outside of the portfolio that you've made. Number 3 is the buy screen. I think that this buy screen is pretty basic. You basically have to type in the amount. Let's say I want to invest $1,000 and it'll calculate how many units I can buy with that amount of money. You've also got a limit order which you can place and basically select the price. This is a new addition. Before you could only buy on market price, so this is pretty good to see, but it just seems very basic in my opinion. There's no charts or no table, which kind of shows you how many buyers and sellers are buying at different prices, which other brokers have. So I think that they've tried to make it as simple as possible to buy a share, which is good, but I think that it does need to have that bit of detail, maybe a toggle system where you can kind of turn on that feature or turn it off, where other investors who want to see those types of details, I think it'll be easier for them. So I think this buy screen is just a bit too basic, because I don't know about you guys, but ideally I would like to see that information. And then lastly, looking at US trades, it is not very competitive. You've got a brokerage fee of $6.50 per trade for American shares. And then also you've got a foreign exchange rate of 37 basis points, right? So there's other offerings out there in the market which may charge a higher FX fee, but they've got zero brokerage. So depending on who you are and how you trade and how you invest, Perla may not be the best option for you, so just make sure that you're selecting the best one for your situation. Now, overall, I would say that it's a pretty good broker for long-term investors. It's the only real broker out there that actually encourages people to invest for the long term. The goal of a broker is to help people trade as much as possible so they can make as much commission, but Perla, it's a bit opposite, where they want to actually encourage that sustainable investing, which I think is really, really good. They're CHESS sponsored as well, which is a big tick for me personally. Of course, I want my investments to be as secure as possible because I'm investing for the long term, many kind of decades moving forward. So that CHESS sponsorship is a big tick. And when it comes to the Australian pricing for Australian shares, it is on par with SelfWealth at $9.50 per trade, which is again pretty good. And of course, they're looking to hopefully lower those fees sometime next year or sometime in the future. Let's just see what happens on that front. So I think that's pretty good as well. The community feature encourages people to talk about finance and share the investing journeys more and be more open as to what they're buying, which is pretty good. And of course, it links with ShareSite as well if you're looking to track your shares and whatnot. So I think that's good. With the cons being the buy screen and the sell screen is not very, it's not very advanced. Let's just call it that. And the pricing is not very competitive for US shares, and the free ETF offering is quite limited. I think it's only like 40 or 50 different ETFs. So they definitely need to add in more fund managers like Vanguard, BlackRock, and BetaShares. Those three, I think, are the three biggest ones for people. Now, if you're ready to jump on board, you can use the link in the description or use the code right here. This will basically give you a free investment credit worth $9.50 to start or continue your investment journey. Now, if you're not quite ready yet to invest with a full service broker, you can check out this video right here. This will basically compare the micro investing apps in Australia, which are Raise, Spaceship, and CommSec Pocket. And this video talks about the new fee changes for Spaceship, so check these two videos out. And guys, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye now. If you're not quite ready yet, however, if you're not quite